Hello, SynthFest. My name is Sean Tyas. I've been doing trance for about 15 years. I've been a huge fan of Sound on Sound, as well as a huge fan, possibly even bigger fan of Novation for the better part of those years. And I was absolutely elated to have the opportunity to walk you through one of Novation's new little toys. I would call it a big toy, actually, the Novation Peak. I'll be walking you through 2 different patch designs from scratch right now to whet your appetite. And yeah, enjoy. We're going to start out with a sync bass, nice and simple, but try to work some of the new tricks that Peak has in store for us. A bit of FM, but we'll get to that in a minute. First things first, we want to work the pattern in, and well, the pattern's already laid out in my live setup right now. Basic. The only processing that's actually happening to it is a slight bit of LFO tool side chaining happening, just so we don't get in trouble with the kick drum. And that's it, though. It's very subtle. It's very little. So yeah, let's just jump right into the number 1, turn on glide. We already don't have the correct voicing mode for this, so let's set that up. We're gonna put it into legato, mono, yep. Next step would be to set up the envelopes to also be legato and not retrigger. So it doesn't trigger the envelope every single time the overlapping notes are actually there. I'm probably going to do the same thing on envelope 1 just to be on the safe side. And it's amp envelope, that's also legato. Good. So now let's go check out oscillator 1. This is just a sawtooth. It's the only oscillator that's on right now. Make it deeper. I cannot hear sawtooth in that higher octave anymore. Let's go give it a little bit of sync characteristics. We're gonna also juice it up more by using mod envelope 2 to bring in more movement to the sync effect, but we just got to give it the sync effect first. Too much. Just a bit. Good. Now we go to set up more sync motion with the mod matrix, which is under mod, of course, under mod envelope 2. So probably going to set like a really long decay on this one. Seems like the default envelope wants to not be 0 sustain. So just kind of like what this should give. So let's set this up first and foremost. Mod envelope 2 is the source, destination, over to oscillator 1 V-sync, and then depth, of course, is how much you want it to affect it. Now we're getting close to that magic parameter we want from this. So then we come back, we're going to tweak our oscillator sync starting value a little bit more. Oh, that's pretty good. We're getting the kind of texture I really want now. So then we're gonna probably season it up a little bit. I know I'm probably gonna go work a little backwards, but I wanna hear what it sounds like with a little bit of this. By the way, Novation chorus is one of the loveliest things on the planet, and this synth is no exception. It still has some of the best chorus algorithms I've ever heard, and you got 3 different types. I think the algorithm number 2 is the classic Novation quad chorus. Number 1 is a 2-layer chorus, and number 3 is what they call an ensemble chorus, similar to your Logic ensemble chorus plugin. I'm assuming very, very similar to that. If you go 100% wet on the chorus, and you can hear with something like this, you really don't even need Unison mode anymore for. So let's give it a little bit more filter and filter. After all, filter on this synth is the real analog, real deal. So you kind of want to be into that. I'm going to check the voicing settings. I like this setting a lot. I wish there was a knob for it. The filter post drive. You have overdrive, this is pre-drive, and then you got post-drive over here, which is under the voice settings. See how much more beef you can get out of the sound this way. Give it a bit of delay just for a little bit of rhythm. It's going to be out of tune, sing. Make sure it's 8th. Oops, wrong way. So now I get a little bit more bite out of it, a little more rhythm. I'm always a kind of a delay addict as opposed to a reverb addict. Having said that, though, the reverbs on this are insane. So if you like something like Valhalla Shimmer and super long reverbs, yeah, this has got you covered in that regard. We're just going to turn it on a little bit, just for space. I'm not going to do a super long reverb, but it does get pretty ridiculously lush. It's just important to show that it's just a beautiful reverb. Potentially the best reverb I've ever heard on a hardware synth, because they're just not, they don't tend not to be known as great reverb things, but devices. Usually it's kind of thrown on as an afterthought, but yeah, the reverb on this is diesel. So, and the resonance is pretty out of control too. I usually just bandpass is so aggressive on this synth in 24 decibel mode, so let's put it in 12. Already kind of getting the bite that I want. So now let's work a little bit of FM into the sound. So keep oscillator 3 down. So we're gonna want to set up the mod. So now we're in the mod matrix. Probably gonna go to mod matrix. Definitely gonna go to mod matrix. Slot 2. We're gonna direct. Because we want it to be constant. We're just looking to change the texture of the actual sound. So I want to go. You're looking for your FM destination. So FM, that's going to FM using. Let me just quickly explain this. So if I want to, so if you're not familiar with FM synthesis, this makes FM1 the modulator, FM and oscillator 2 is the carrier. Next mode. Oscillator 2 becomes the modulator and 3 becomes the carrier. We're looking for the one that's going to modulate 1. So 3 is the modulator and 1 is the carrier, and effectively turning them into operators. Let's use this one. Back up. And we're looking to add more, almost an illusion of distortion, but yeah, we're looking to add more metallic harmonics into the sound right now. Kind of like that one already, but we didn't even get into the good waveforms. And of course, you can edit your own waveforms in this as well. By the way, right now I'm just stepping through the wave tables, and you'll find different. Let's see, didgeridoo, huh? A little bit less, because I'm losing kind of the sync. Let's go try the other filter types, see what is still might be under our nose. Here we go back to low pass. Really bad. I'm into this. Probably gonna go back and just change the pattern real quick. You could do all sorts of stuff with this. No, that extra note is driving me crazy. Okay, better. And okay. Okay, so now we're back on the synth, and this is going to be part 2, where I'm going to do something where this is much more in terms of my department, because in trance we're always after big unison-y, chorusy sounds. And of course, this is a hardware synth, so you have always a limitation of voices. And Novation has a very, very classy way of getting around. Of course, it has Unison mode, but this is definitely something more appropriate for monophonic sounds on the synth, because you're just going to be eating up your voices real quick. You see, I'm playing a 4-note chord into it. So imagine I had Unison set to 3 voice unison, then I would be exceeding my allowed voices and it would be voice stealing from each other. So we're going to leave that, except you can just watch the lights all light up and they'll just always stay on. And that would be voice stealing, because you would have because these are 4-note chords. Actually, they're 2-note chords, but they're doubled up an octave for you'll recognize the melody in a second. So I figured let's just dig out a classic melody from an old trancer that you're definitely going to recognize. And so here we go. Just have one oscillator right now. So one of the first things we're going to do is go into the oscillator setting, and you have saw density and density detune. And this is creating a kind of faux unison effect on each oscillator, and every oscillator has it. So we're going to start out with oscillator 1, just turn it right up. It's calibrated in such a way that doesn't let you go too far, so you're not going to end up with any kind of like hard style level detuning, but really, really gives a really good, very, very usable unison effect on the oscillator. So we're going to go bring in oscillator 2 to the same exact thing, slightly different values, but first we're going to detune it a little bit. Let's go up a little bit, maybe 12 cents up. Now back over to oscillator 2, density, saw density, bring that right up. I don't think you need to maximize it. But already getting closer to where we want to be really quickly. Let's bring in oscillator 3. That's just a single oscillator. There's no density there yet. We're first going to fine tune it down about, not equivalent, but let's go minus 10 cents. These are not even arbitrary numbers. These are just, you feel it. And bring in the saw density of oscillator 3 right up again. Definitely doesn't need to be all the same numbers. In fact, it's probably better if they're all different numbers. Oscillator patches by default on peak are free running oscillators, so you don't have to worry about anything in terms of making turning off retrigger or whatnot. Being that we are in the year 2020, I kind of do like to add a little bit of click, a little bit more of attack to the whole sound overall. So I usually set up mod envelope 2 to mod envelope 2 as go into the mod matrix, number 1. Mod envelope 2 is going to be, it's already set to as destination for all oscillators, pitch and depth go right up. So now we're getting this a little weird. Good, and now just come back on the amount. Just run it a bit. It's nice. Okay. Next up, we are going to bring in chorus, just because Novation does have the best choruses on this planet. Oof. Silky smooth, these choruses. They're really good. You can go crazy if you go. I mean, with a chorus like that, I'm not really missing using unison mode whatsoever. Yeah, beautiful. Okay, that's pretty great. I want to dig in a little bit more and get into the chorus. You have a little bit more, you have 2 more parameters in the chorus when you dig into the FX menu here. And I want to raise the depth even a little bit more, and maybe a tiny bit of feedback. You can go crazy and just go like this. Just gets weird, but just in terms of sound design, I felt the need to show that. And yeah, go with like... Okay, so now, how's it sound filtered down? Now we got to change the amp envelope a little bit. And how are we doing with the long release time like this? Are we going to eat the voices? Not at all. Beautiful. Okay. Now, I've already said the reverb on this is beastly. So, yeah, let's put it to the test. Let's go into the largest algorithm. Maybe a little bit of overdrive from the filter for just a bit of bite. Filter on this is definitely a highlight. For you analog purists, I don't think anybody's going to deny that this is definitely the most formidable part of this synth. So let's get a little bit of delay. It's going to jump out because of course I need to change the delay timing. Let's give me some fourth down. No. Come on. There we go. And I'll go back into the FX setting. You can also get more. You'll get more settings for your delay as well. The ratio between left and right sides. It makes a little bit more stereo as well. A bit much on the release time. I think I still have a little too much envelope on the pitch, so I'm just going to come back a little bit on that. That's actually really nice. Now, love it when the filter's down. Man. A little distortion, maybe? Because, I mean, for the first half of the rotary, it's actually not a brutal distortion. It's more of a saturation feel. The release time is actually too long. It's dripping over each other. Yeah. That's the kind of sound I want. Yep. And yeah, that is how we do Superstring on the Novation Peak without using any Unison.